All right, everyone, welcome back to the 307 podcast. We've got the full crew in here today. We appreciate you joining us, and we're going to talk about some things here in just a little bit that's on my mind, and hopefully you guys will join in. Team PT this morning was good. I'm pretty daggone tired after that. I'm pretty tired. That swimming will wear you down.
How does it feel that every time you see me again, usually we go a few days without seeing each other. How does it feel that every time you see me again, the gap widens between my fitness and yours? How does that feel?
Well, I could have beat you easily today, but
how does that make you feel?
I could have easily beat you today, but I was actually being a team player today.
I would just like to ask how that makes you feel.
Well, now, I will say you're tuned up. You are more well-balanced in terms of fitness than I've ever seen you in my life. You've got good strength. You've got good speed. As far as I can tell, you've got good endurance, although you are very afraid to do an 18-mile ruck march, which makes me question, because I'm
not afraid. Do you want to do it tomorrow?
Yeah, I would love to do it tomorrow.
Not next Thursday. I didn't bring my stuff.
He keeps putting it off. You don't need anything. We have the rucks, and I'll go buy the sandbags today.
Well, see, you ain't bought the sandbags. I can't stay tonight. I'll do it next week.
Yeah. So you're pretty well rounded right now. I'm really proud of you.
He thinks he's got me beat in endurance. Good gosh.
But that's usually
what you're last in.
That's when I have beat Chili in ultra running. It's been in endurance. So when I beat him at the mid-state mile, the last man standing, that's all about endurance. It takes speed completely out of the equation. And so that's where I beat him. I'm trying to think, have I ever beat you? That's the only sanctioned race I've ever beat you at, right?
Well, yeah, we've only done 2.
Well, yeah, man. We got to do the tiebreaker.
What do you want to do?
The Cocodona.
Nah.
You won't do it, will you?
Lame.
I haven't even asked you because I figured you'd say that.
What about, that would probably be a good one.
Yeah, I think it would be. The reality is I have come to terms with the fact that I am never going to be as fast as you, but I think I can outlast you. But
not when we go at it again. No.
But with the Cocodona race, your speed could come into play. I mean, you could get a big enough lead on me that I would never catch you.
Correct.
Yeah. So.
Sounds like we'll never know.
Well, you won't do that race?
Oh, I wouldn't say never. I don't plan on doing it next year.
I'll pay your entry.
You plan on doing it next year?
Yeah.
You signed up?
I'll sign up today.
Well, we'll see.
All right. As far as housekeeping here at 307 Project, we have got, Chili has designed the best running hats that I've ever worn personally. And let me tell you, I am a hat snob. And a while back, I saw a hat and I said, daggone Chili, I'd like to have one of those hats. Well, next thing I turn around and Chili has designed us a running hat. And let me tell you, this thing is awesome. Y'all know how a lot of times when you have a running hat, when you go to run, it just kind of starts just drooping down on your head, and before you know it, it's too far low on your head and you can't really see what you're doing. Well, this hat actually stays on my head where I want it to be while I'm running. I really like that. Another thing, this thing doesn't get all the sweat lines and it doesn't stink.
Yeah.
It just kind of gets soaked and then it dries up and it looks brand new again. And if you guys want a good running hat, go to 37project.com and get them while supplies last.
Do you think it looks cool?
Yeah, I think it looks really cool.
You like the ventilation?
Yeah.
Well,
I do. I like everything about it.
A lot of people have, not a ton, but there's been people down along the line say, man, I wish I just can't run in the trucker hats, that you sell. The gray, the multicam, and the black. We've got the trucker hats that we normally have always sold. Well, finally we made something. So if you run and you follow us, you better buy one of these hats and wear it at your races.
I've wanted a hat like this for a long time.
Yeah, I think it'll be cool. So hopefully we'll we'll start seeing them at races around the South and stuff.
Yeah. The other thing, I've designed this target here. I want to show you guys this new target that I've got. What do you think about it? Take a look at it. So I've designed a shooting target.
So these are going to be to scale
for you guys. Yeah, that'll be on a 25 by 36 inch piece of paper.
Okay.
So I know a lot of you guys that go out and shoot on the range. If you haven't had a lot of training, you go out to the range and you don't know what to really do, like what to work on, right? It's hard unless you have an instructor there, somebody there to coach you through drills or tell you what to practice. It's hard for you to come up with what you need to work on. Well, we have built out an entire set of drills that have times attached, standards attached to the drill, and I've designed a shooting target that pairs with those drills. So now you'll be able to purchase these targets when we get them on the website. They're being printed, and you'll be able to take this target to the range, and you'll be able to practice either the individual drills, or you will be able to shoot through the entire standards test and total up your time and see if you're within the standards or not. I've set these standards at a place, the time standards, at a place where they're achievable. You're going to have to work on it to get it, but everybody you don't have to be some pro shooter to make these standards. All right. So that's the next thing. What do y'all think about that? Does it look good?
I think it's a good idea. I think it's cool. I mean,
This was also your idea.
Nah, that wasn't my idea.
Thank you for that idea, Chili.
That wasn't my idea.
Yes, it was.
You developed a target.
You told me I should make a target.
No, that's a good idea. I mean, that's good. I like it because I think it's a big part of what 3 of 7 project is that was not, didn't have anything to show, you know what I mean? And really spread to people.
Yeah.
Now you do. So
yeah,
I think things can grow from that.
And now we can compete against people, whoever buys that target, since it's all standardized, we can all compete against each other.
Yep.
No matter where you are, we don't have to be on the range together. So, what do you like it, Krista?
I think it's a great idea. I actually was talking to somebody recently about this person was going out on the range every now and then with some friends and was literally saying, I wish I knew something specific to work on. Like I had a drill to do or something like that, because they go out and they just shoot and it doesn't actually make them better. And so it's kind of like walking in the gym. You can show up at a gym and walk in there and just walk around, look at some machines and start piddling around, doing a few things, but you don't actually get stronger, faster, develop skill by doing that. You typically need a program, you need goals, you need some metrics, and so some instruction. And so I think it fits that well. I think it's probably needed by a lot of people.
I think it is too. What do you, I'll just, Blake, whatever, man. You're just sitting over there freaking pizzling your thumbs.
Well, I think it's cool, man, because listen, there's a lot of people that listen to the podcast and watch on YouTube and whatever, and they shoot probably a little bit, maybe here and there, but they're not really practicing, really training, really trying to get better at it. And
well, they don't even know how to train.
Well, that's exactly. So, get a standardized target like this, and then not only is it giving you, okay, here's what you can work on, but it also allows you to compete with other people, and that's pretty cool.
I'm hoping it'll inspire people to go to the range more.
Yeah.
So since they now have goals that they want to hit. So
it's going to be big. It's going to be big.
I think it's going to change the whole shooting the whole shooting industry.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to revolutionize range shooting.
If y'all buy enough of these targets, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll buy a piece of land. If I sell enough of these targets, I'll buy a piece of land and I'll build us a massive range facility out there, and we'll have a big shooting day out there. All right.
So all of you go make your contribution once these come out.
They're not even for sale yet.
even if you don't shoot, just buy one so we can get that range set up for other people.
For the youth.
Utes.
Yeah. Well, let's see what Jocko sent me. What were you going to say, Blake?
I was just going to say, good job on that target. You did really good. You coordinated with high tech. Just
Screw you, man.
Perfect.
Screw you. Let's see what Jocko sent me.
I'd be glad this ain't filmed.
Jocko sent us a message, or one of his people did the other day, and the Joker said they was going to send us some energy drinks. So we said, well, yeah, we'll try the energy drinks. I personally like Jocko's stuff. He's done very well. He's got his hands in a lot of different stuff. He's got a great podcast. He's a well-spoken guy. I think he highlights some stories that need to be told, and I think he's a good representative for the military and leadership and all that good stuff. So he sent me this energy drinks out here, and I thought, well, good gosh, what in the world, son? Look at this, man. I'm gonna open this up. I haven't even opened it yet.
Yeah, that's quite the case.
You talk about going over the top. I mean, look at this. Look at that, man. Blake, get that. Are you videoing this?
Yeah.
It's like a gun case.
Look at that, man. Look. If y'all are wondering how people do well and get ahead, this is it. I mean, you tell somebody.
He knows how to do it.
You tell somebody you're going to send them an energy drink, and you send this thing out.
It's pretty cool.
It's over the top, man.
Well, yeah, it's not a mystery why he's successful.
So what this is for you guys that are listening, instead of just sending a couple of cases of energy drinks, they have got a Pelican case, and the foam is custom cut, and he's fit these energy drinks in this Pelican case, and it's got a T-shirt in it. It's got a jump rope in it. Look at that. I got a new jump. I've been wanting a daggone. Thank you, Jocko.
Now you can get those double unders.
I have been wanting my own jump rope for years now. I've got one. And what else we got in here? Some headbands.
No, they're sweatbands.
Okay. And we've got some of these Real Energy Jocko Go energy drinks.
Now, is this some sort of unreleased flavor you ain't supposed to talk about, or are these just...
No.
Okay.
I mean, I can't wait to try them. I'm not going to try them right now because I want to put them in the refrigerator and try them when they're cold.
All right. Well,
But anyways, this actually leads in to what we're going to talk about today. What we're going to attempt to talk about today. And I want to tell you guys a little story. I'll tell it as respectfully as I possibly can. But there have been some, a while back, there were some people working out at my house, some contractors essentially, doing a job, and okay, they're doing their work and all right. They're just doing their thing. They get done at the end of the day, and these people are performing a highly specialized skill for top dollar, and they're supposed to be the best in their industry. And there's two people in charge and a whole crew of workers. They do the thing. They leave for the day. I walk out in front of the house. The gate is standing wide open. There's cigarette butts strolled all over the ground. And there's trash laying everywhere. And it was mind-boggling to me that anyone would have set a standard that low?
Well, they don't have a standard. I mean, at that point.
It was. I was racking my brain of you're supposed to be the top of the game in your industry, and this is your standard. And so we actually call and confront them about it and say, hey, well, we'll give you. We're going to give you an opportunity to fix yourself. Hey, there's cigarette butts all out here in the yard. Well, guess what the boss's response was to us telling them there were cigarette butts left all out in the yard? Well, our guys don't smoke on site. Our guys, that wasn't, those cigarette butts were there. Our guys don't smoke on site. I literally walked out of my house and there were 6 Mexicans standing behind a box truck smoking cigarettes. I literally saw it. But their response was, our guys don't smoke on site. The gate thing. Look, guys, let me give y'all a little etiquette here. If somebody has a gate, do you think they put that gate there because they want to leave that space wide open, or because they want to keep that space enclosed? Like, what's the point of a gate? Okay? If you ever open a gate, close the freaking gate behind you. The gate is there for a reason. You are a straight turd if you leave a gate open. This is a pet peeve of mine.
A pet peeve?
When I drive, when this gate out here,
that's somebody's pet peeve.
At the end of the driveway stays open, it irks me. Even if I know it's open for a reason, when I drive through that gate, it just bothers me that the gate's open. You are a turd if you don't shut a gate behind yourself. Okay? Now, why am I having this discussion here? Why are we having this discussion? There's my story, okay?
Golly.
There's my story.
That was good. That put me in a good mood. Somebody's pet peeve is you saying peeve. That's for sure.
Well, they can get over it.
But no, man, you're having this discussion because it bothers you, and it leads right into the low standards that everyone holds themselves to, and that's probably not a good thing. That's how society devolves to the point where it is. The reason, though, is there's no repercussions, because you would think that a business that wants to stay in business and wants to continuously get chosen for employment by people, they're contractors, right, would need to be better than their competition to continue to do that, to continue to find work. Well, they don't have to be any better than that, because the next person you call will do the same thing.
Yep.
That's the reason that they do it. The only way to fix low personal standards that you see in people is to have competition. You got to have a reason to not be lame.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I'll say that, one, it's not that they're holding themselves to a low standard. They actually don't have a standard. Their standard is not, I'm going to leave 6 cigarette butts and not 10. Like, they don't have a standard for leaving trash. And I've had crews work for me on construction sites, and that's what they do. Like, you can stand out, if you stood out there and said, hey, you need to pick your trash up, they would do it. But regardless what you said or what you did, if you weren't there, they would leave trash. That's the construction industry, and that is the culture around that. And, part of it may be the culture, but part of it is also that I think a lot of people just don't understand the idea of a standard. Like, they don't know They truly don't. They're not. Their standard is focused on the work they're providing. So whatever the people are doing, if they're painters or if they're whatever they're doing, then they probably have a standard for that painting. But aside from that, they don't have a standard for their life. It's just the skill that they're providing, not a standard for who they are and how I'm going to leave this place.
You know, I thought about that. Because that was the same with these contractors. It was like they were supposed to provide the best possible service, okay? But here's the thing. I don't care how good of a job you can do if you're going to be a sloppy piece of crap.
Well, it's no longer a great job then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, Krista, what's the minimum standard?
Well, I was just about to say, I think a lot of that falls on the leadership, whoever's in charge. So,
Yeah.
you know, the man that you called or whoever you called to express your complaint, you know, just in his response
Yeah.
shows something.
These were females.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that shows something in the response, but also that standard needs to be communicated and those expectations and that bar set by whoever's in charge. So some of that falls on the worker and the choices they're making. But if they haven't, a vision hasn't been cast or expectations haven't been set, then that's on the leadership. That's on whoever's in charge, I think.
Let's talk about leadership for a minute, because that's also something I've been considering. If you guys don't know this, I am going through and have been for the last probably year, but still every day I'm unpacking my life, because I have never been slowed down enough to unpack my life. And I've been thinking a lot about leadership, and exactly to the point that you were just talking. In my first platoon in the SEAL teams, I was a brand new guy at the team. We were going through our pre-deployment workup, our ULT. And in a SEAL platoon, the platoon chief is the leader, right? The chief is basically everyone looks to the chief to hold that standard for the platoon, right? We had a really weak chief that finally, toward the end of ULT, ended up getting fired. Okay? Now we have a platoon with no leader. I'm a brand new guy. And this is something that needs to be unpacked at some point. The SEAL team, for some reason, could not muster another chief to lead our platoon. So we literally finished ULT and went on deployment with no leadership. Can you believe that? An organization like the SEAL teams could not muster a leader to lead a platoon. Okay? Now I want to say, I made a pile of mistakes. And I want to take ownership for, right off the bat, every mistake that I made was ultimately my fault. Okay? But the fact that we had zero leadership in that platoon and nobody could muster a leader.
When you say that, I got to ask, I don't know the dynamics. Should y'all have decided that one of y'all was going to step up and be, or did you have that authority? See, I don't know the dynamics.
So if you don't have, you have to have that title.
Yeah.
Like when you're a chief in the Navy, you wear these golden anchors. Your uniform is different. It's held in high regard when you make chief, right? So it's like even if a guy that was, say, an E6, a senior E6, decided, okay, I'm going to step up and do the chief's job. If the chief isn't there, it's just not the same, man. It just can't. Maybe it could work, but
yeah,
it just couldn't work. All right. Yes, that platoon was a crap show. I'm talking about and I went off the rails. one, because I was an immature kid, but two, because there was no leadership.
Well, you were going somewhere with the story. You were saying that you take responsibility, but
I have to acknowledge, like, I learned the importance of leadership because of a very critical time in my life where there was zero leadership. And I made some of the biggest mistakes in my life during that time. And although I take ownership for those actions, I believe I could have avoided some of those big mistakes if there would have been a leader there. You're exactly right. Okay? Krista, you're exactly right. And so that's where I learned the importance of leadership. Is in the absence of leadership, I went freaking off the rails, dude.
Well, there's the absence of leadership, but then there's also leadership can exist and be poor leadership.
Yeah.
So just because there's leadership doesn't mean it's good leadership. So
that's true.
So I think that the quality of the leaders is important too.
That's my second platoon.
Okay.
we had a chief, but it was very, very poor leadership.
Right.
And that platoon was also a crap show, but not as big of a crap show. So poor leadership is better than no leadership, but it's still going to be pretty messy and ugly. So I watched these leaders of these contractors. Actually, I watch people because I like to watch the dynamics. So once their workers left, I watched the leaders walk around the area. They saw all that stuff. They saw the trash laying there. They saw the gate standing open. They saw all this. They got in their car and left. So yeah, it was sad, and it really irked me. And so we're going to talk about what is the.
Well, I wonder too if there's something culturally. I wonder if it always was this way. Because I tend to think that it wasn't. I'm making assumptions that it used to be that when people did jobs such as this that were considered service jobs, that it actually was service. Like people had that mindset. Like I'm serving people through. It's not just a transaction, but I actually take pride in my work. And I take pride in this relational transaction. I'm providing this for somebody. And I wonder if there's been a shift in that, or some of that has been stripped away, or there's a disconnect between I don't know, maybe it's because back in the day we had smaller communities. You knew the person maybe you were working for, they knew you. And so maybe with things shifting in that area, it's created a disconnect between those things. I don't know. What do you think about that? Like the idea of people not taking pride in their work and viewing it as a service to others.
I can't wrap my mind around it. Like,
well, there's something very interesting about that. I was telling y'all earlier, I went to a school where we had to do several service projects, we called them, throughout the year. Many. I mean, I don't know how many it ended up being every year, but it was a lot. And what we would go do varied from, going to sending different classes. So we'd spread out to different people's homes that, their homes, their yards and everything were in disarray, and we could go do some work and clean up, do all this stuff, to different, food shelters, to all kinds of stuff. And it's funny that Krista says that about service, because I would think that a bunch of lazy high schoolers would not really care about that, not really put in a lot of effort, not really take much pride in it. We had to do it. We were forced to, The only way you get out of it is stay home sick. And then if you did, you had to do it on your own. I mean, it was, we were held to a certain amount of service hours so but I would think that. is what I'm getting at. I would think that you wouldn't, it would be a crap show. Well, interestingly, I played basketball in high school, ran cross country, ran track, obviously paid attention to a lot of the other sports, was, doing whatever. Gym class, people lazy as crap, man. You're told to go run a mile, can't do it. In practice, which by the way is voluntary. You're not forced to go play basketball. You signed up for that. You've got something to do, ain't doing it. Coach ain't looking, not running. Whatever it was. But then when we go on these service projects, not everybody, of course, but I'm saying it was an interesting shift to where everybody seemed to like, all right, we're ponying up and we're going to work. Some people that wouldn't freaking do anything in practice, they would get out of everything. You'd see them freaking hauling 50 pounds of trash bags on their shoulders. And I'm like, that's kind of interesting that this is a service-oriented thing, and it brings out more in people. I don't know. It's just an observation based on what Krista said.
I think there's something to that relational connection and meaningfulness of that transaction. It's not just, I give you this skill or this product, and you give me money, done. And I think there's something about that relational transaction, and when you view what you're doing as providing a service or helping somebody else, that changes how you perform.
I don't know.
Changes what you do.
I don't know if what
mindset shift.
I don't know if what I said made any sense, but and it also changed dramatically when you would see the person that you were helping. Sometimes you would maybe go to a house and never see the person. Sometimes you would see the person that you're helping. That seemed to make a difference too. It's very interesting, the psychology in that.
Yeah. Well,
do you think that's in construction specifically, or like,
no,
or
I think
just across the
generally,
board?
Yeah, I think generally. I think the more fragmented and disconnected our society gets, I think that probably that's going to be a natural result. It's going to deteriorate toward that. I would guess. I think so.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And I also think that there is some danger in when you get really good at providing whatever the service is that you are providing. Like, I think there's some danger in the pride that comes along with that, to where you can say, okay, whatever, man, I'm the best. Like, you just hired me to cut your grass. I'm the best freaking grass cutter in the area. I'm going to cut your grass really nice. And there's some danger in that, because you can start to let all the other stuff, what you would look at as minuscule stuff, like picking up your freaking cigarette butts or closing the gate behind you, you start to let all that crap slip because you think you're the best, right? Well, that'll backfire on you.
Well, it almost goes back to what she says, where you feel like you're doing them a favor. Like,
exactly,
I'm the best in there. If I'm cutting your grass, I'm doing you a favor. You know how many people want my service?
Yeah.
And you're getting it? I can leave trash out here because you're getting my service.
That is unsustainable.
Yeah.
That is unsustainable. Yeah. You have to be on guard against that. Now, there's a grand opportunity here for us, right? There's a grand opportunity as we're talking about this. This is the reality, man. This is how people operate. And I don't know, like you said, Krista, I like to think it was different way back when communities were tighter, people knew each other. I don't know. I never had to have this mindset shift. I cut grass when I got out of the SEAL teams for a whole season. That's what I did. And like, that was automatically my mindset, was I'm providing a service for this person, and I am going to do this to the best of my ability, right? So that's just, I guess that's why I'm so mind boggled by the way these people operate, by the way people in general operate, and the low standards that they have, because that was my mindset.
Well, I remember you talking about, like, when you would pull weeds, how people would look at you, like, oh, look at this guy, this old guy here. And that's another cultural thing too, that we have begun to view servants as less than. Like, oh, you're out here pulling weeds, you must not be able to do anything with your life. You're pulling weeds in my funeral home, or you're doing, you gotta move this stuff around. You're a day laborer, or you're just a servant. Like, that's less than.
Do you realize that everybody listening to this, your entire existence is being upheld by the blue collar working class? Your entire freaking existence. When you go down there to the grocery store, when you go to the pump gas, anything that you have to have, it's all being upheld on the shoulders of the blue collar working class of people. Yeah. That's the reality
it's funny
of it.
You say that because the road I drive down to go back and forth home and different places, all summer long they've been doing some construction, some work there. I think they're laying pipe, but they've had like a, what do you call that thing, a ditch witch? Yeah, that's been out there like constantly all summer, and it has been hot outside. And I was driving with one of my kids the other day and said, I can't imagine what it's like for them to be out there all day long. Like, it's so hot, so humid here. And they're covered in mud, that Georgia red clay. And it's just like, I just drive by and I think it's easy for people to look at that, like Blake said, and just look down on that. But I drive by and I think, how incredible. Like, the fortitude that these people have, the willingness to be out there. And the other day I was driving and I had just had this thought, it just smacked me in the face. Like, we wouldn't like there. I was thinking about what they specifically were doing. We're laying this pipe and, fixing all this plumbing stuff. And I just thought, like, I turn on my faucet at my house every day and don't even think about where that water's coming from. And I take it for granted. And I think, if something goes wrong, like it gets shut off for 30 minutes, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And like Chad just said, if they weren't doing that and committed to doing that all summer long, like, we wouldn't. There are so many basic things we have that we don't even think about that are provided by workers like that.
Yep.
So I think that's a great point.
All right. I want to talk about the absolute. This is where the grand opportunity is for all of us here listening to this. Look, man. A lot of you guys, you may be doing something in terms of work, your career, that you don't enjoy, that you don't find enjoyment, fulfillment, or passion in, right? Okay. A lot of you guys may be in that situation. My question to you is, why do you continue on that path? Because it is so easy to win right now. It is so easy to win, to do well at whatever it is that you enjoy doing, whatever it is you want to do. All right? Because your competition sucks so bad that literally, if you want to start a business, if you want to begin a mission in providing a service or providing a product or something that revolves around what you want to do, all you have to do to beat everyone around you is to uphold the minimum standard. Because no one else is doing it. Literally the minimum standard. Okay, in the story I just told, if you're doing work, if you're working for someone at, say, their residence, right? The minimum standard is to leave that place as good as you found it. If you do that, you will be better than everyone else providing the service that you have chosen to provide. Just leave it like you found it. What the freaking crap, man? That's the minimum standard. Now, if you start a business and you actually leave something better than you found it, or you go above and beyond. That's why I showed this on the podcast, the thing that Jocko sent me. If you do crap like this, you will straight crush everyone. So you just bump it up just a little more. You know, if Jocko would have sent me a couple cases of energy drinks in the cases, we'd have said, man, that's pretty cool, right? That's pretty cool. You do something like this, this is why this Joker is crushing everyone. It's because he's just went a little above and beyond the absolute minimum standard. It's that easy. It's that easy. You know, I said the other day, I said, you know, it's a miracle that 307 Project exists. And I got thinking about it. And I still want to give all the glory to God, but here's the thing. If we tell you that we're going to be somewhere at a certain time and we're going to provide a certain level of training, we do it. We're there when we say we're going to be there. We have everything there that we say we're going to have there, and we provide the best possible training experience that we can possibly muster. We do it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, okay. Starting to figure this out now. This has got something to do with why we've been able to impact people's lives and stay in business and make a living. It's because we always at least hit the minimum standard. And we do everything we can to go above and beyond that with the resources that we have. But we always at least hit the minimum standard. What a grand opportunity for you guys out there. You know, I got buddies. I got so many, you know, friends that just stay in a rut with their career, and they're just working these jobs and crap that they find no fulfillment in it. They just are but they have these things that they're really passionate about. But they just stay in this freaking rut. And I'm like, dude, why are you staying in this freaking rut, man? It's so easy. Just leave things as good as you found it. Just do what you say you're going to do. And leave things as good as you found it. And you're going to win. It's that freaking easy, man. Nobody's doing it. So that's why I presented this thing that Jocko sent me on this podcast. Because there's a prime example of going just a little above and beyond what someone's expectations are.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is long-term vision and short-term vision, because in the short term, Jocko could have said, dang, man, that's going to cost me probably, what, $50 to $100, you know, more to put that together than had I just sent out some energy drinks. And that's what people are thinking. They're thinking, let me pinch this penny here and this penny here, and I'll save money. But in the long term, they're shooting themselves in the foot because they're just hitting the minimum standard. Because he could have sent that out, and he could have been successful with it, but nobody's going to say, gosh, can you look at what he sent me? And then makes you want to tell other people about it, and your product is broadcast that much further because more people are talking about it because it made an impact, you know. And I think, you know, I just keep thinking of construction, but like in the situation where you were at, depending on where you go, some people also don't have a standard for themselves, and they expect trash to be left everywhere, or don't even realize that it's there because they do it themselves. So maybe those people you don't impact, but the people that know and say, oh, crap, man, this guy cleaned up after himself, and his work might not have been quite as good, but at least he left this place nice. He's going to get all the business, you know?
It kind of brings me to a question about leadership based on what the stories Chad told earlier. And I don't know how to say this correctly because I think the way I'm going to word it is not really conveying what I'm actually thinking. But like, individuals have to be able to lead themselves.
Yeah.
And I don't quite mean that how it sounds, but I mean, like, you can't always have to look for someone to tell you, hey, don't put the cigarette butt on the ground.
Yeah.
Like, there has to be, there's personal agency. There's personal responsibility. There's individual ownership and decision making that has to be made independent of in the absence of a leader. Has to be made independent of what anybody else, no one's telling you what to do.
You can't be a robot.
Yeah, you can't.
I get it. Yeah, but let me tell you how this works, Chili. So not everyone it naturally has the ability.
Well, clearly, but that's a problem.
So a true leader's job is to develop every one of his or her team members to that point, right? Is to you incentivize them, you teach them, you set the example for them, right? And they see that, right? So as a leader, you should be thinking exactly in the terms that you're thinking, Chili. As a leader, you shouldn't be thinking, okay, it's my job to tell all these people what to do. No, it's my job to develop these people into the type of people that don't need to be told. They have personal responsibility. They become good leaders of themselves, right? But like me, when I was a young idiot in the SEAL platoon, I couldn't lead myself.
Well, so what does one do without a leader?
You go off the freaking rails until you have someone come into your life that can mentor you. You had that. You had your father. You've had that. That's why you're thinking this way, right? You've had someone in your life that has mentored you to this point that now you're a good leader of yourself. But until you have someone in your life that can develop you into that type of person, you don't. Some people maybe intuitively think like that. I know I didn't.
Well, that's what I was getting at is what do you do if you don't have that? I mean, what do that's why I asked the question because, not everybody's afforded with leadership, as far as receiving leadership, it starts when you're a baby from your parents.
Yeah.
Some people don't freaking have a mom or a dad.
No.
What do you do? I don't, that's the result of why most people are in the way they are. It's poor leadership. It's difficult to know because I believe in personal agency, regardless of if you've had it modeled or not. I think we all have this innate sense of. I don't know, but it seems like there's personal agency involved with everybody. Like everybody has it written on their hearts what's right or wrong in situations. I don't know the degree; it's above my head, but So how much do you? It helps when you have it modeled, but don't people know? They know how to do this, but refuse not to, it's made difficult by not having that example. It's made super challenging. What's the line there?
I think there could be a case made for like the guys that threw the cigarette butts all on the ground, for instance.
Yeah,
like there can be a case made for like they legitimately don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah,
because they've never been told, hey, just because you throw cigarette butts in your yard. Like other people don't want that, right? So like I think there's a case to be made for that, right? And then for another thing, cultural things, right? So a big problem with me not being able to lead myself and have that personal responsibility as a young guy, a young man in the SEAL teams is since there was no leader to set the example and to rein things in, I got caught up into a lot of partying and drinking, dude. And it was a cultural thing, right? And that nearly freaking destroyed me, dude.
Yeah.
And it was getting caught up into a cultural thing. And that's just one example.
I thought you were going somewhere different with the cultural thing because when you said that word, I thought that is something important to remember, that some of these expectations that we have can be cultural. So to us, it's very clear. Like this is black and white. Like you should be doing this. You should be doing that. You should always be closing the gate. And I think it is important to remember that people do grow up in different contexts, and sometimes things are culturally appropriate or acceptable in certain places that aren't in others. And so I think a huge key to all of this is communication. So don't freak out and call somebody a turd because they're irritating you or annoying you or not, meeting your standards. Those could be the right standards, but also have some humility and say, okay, we may see the world differently here. You may have these expectations. I may have these expectations. So my responsibility then, I'm saying you have this responsibility, but I have responsibility too. My responsibility is to communicate to you, here's what I desire and this is what I expect, and lay that out there, and now they know. And so I think a big piece of it is communication. So understanding, not making assumptions about people, but also understanding this just might need to be communicated clearly. So does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Well, humans, we drive each other. The collective billions that have lived have driven humanity to the point that it's at because of competition.
Yeah.
We drive each other, and the reason people do what they do is because they can get away with it.
Yes, you're right.
I mean, so it's a negative feedback loop that it perpetuates all this stuff. If somebody has to step out, enough people have to step out and be above and beyond that standard, that could quit happening totally.
Yeah.
If enough people did that, because the ones that refuse to clean up after themselves, whatever, would be driven out.
Mm-hmm.
That's technically possible.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it won't happen, but it's technically possible. So, I mean, but the ones that step out, what's the impetus to step out? There has to be some impetus in somebody that, in the absence of leadership, in the absence of being shown the right way, modeled the right way, they said, I'm going to do this different. I'm going to strive to be the best I can be, regardless of how little I could do and still get the job done. I'm going to step out and go above that, even though no one showed me how.
Mm-hmm.
No one told me to. I don't have to win, but I'm going to anyway. That's the answer.
Yeah.
And the ones that do look apart, I mean, whether Jocko had someone, I mean, obviously at this point, but that was in him. You know what I mean? He's gotten to where he is because of ultimately him deciding to do everything he's done. And did he have a good home life growing up? I don't know. But whether he did or didn't, there's people that say he did. There's someone who's successful like him too who didn't. Mm-hmm. What drove them? There's something in people. I mean, I don't know, man. And I don't know how you make somebody without the competition around them forcing them to. I don't know how you make them step out and say, I'm going to do the best I can on this.
Well, I mean, there's tons of incentive. I mean, if you talk about it from a career standpoint, I mean, what makes you want to step out and be that person, right? Well, I mean, to me, the first incentive is the monetary.
Well, why do people not do it? Do they not think that there's the incentive that there is?
I think it's because they can make enough to get by because there is no competition. They can make enough to get by just being a turd, right? But now there are people, David Parker. We've had David Parker on the podcast.
Yeah, I've been thinking about him.
David Parker is one of those guys who has stepped up and just went above, and he can do things. He's figured out how to do things at a high level that nobody else can do. And the dude's a multi-millionaire. It's like, yeah, I think money is a huge incentive. I think for us here, for me personally, having impact is the incentive that I have. So knowing that if our training is as good as we as a team can possibly make it, we're going to have the maximum impact on the people that we get to spend time with. So you have to have you're right. At some point, you have to have a desire to want to do as much as you can
And
possibly do.
And let me go ahead and tell you one reason why not a lot of people, we were calling different things easy and hard and all this. Let me go ahead and tell you what's hard is doing your best at something. That actually is hard.
Yeah.
I can think about how many freaking things I've done in my life, how many races I've done, and I step back and go, did I give the best I could in that? Nope, I didn't. Mm-hmm. But you won, or you did really well, or you did this, or you did that. I still didn't give the best I could. And I can tangibly point to ways that I didn't give the best that I could because I know where I lacked.
That goes back to the foundation of what you were saying earlier. A lot of the best you can do is dictated by what is your competition, man. Well, that's those two things are tied together, right?
Well, the best you're willing to do is dictated by your competition.
Yeah,
the best that you can do is dictated by
that's
the
pretty
deck
much
of cards you
flat.
Yeah, but your competition is going to drive you.
But you have the ability to do the best you can, whether you're competing or not.
There's times I didn't win and didn't give my best. It's
and then
giving your best is hard.
You think about like leading people and incentivizing them to do this. I mean, you're dancing on the line of just manipulation. You have to get to the point to where people want to do that because it's who they are.
Yeah, personal agency.
Yeah, like, okay, yeah, you're going to pick up your trash because I said if you don't, you get fired. Well, then he's doing it, but it's good for the business, and maybe the leader has figured out a way to manipulate his employees in order to do that. But
I was talking about it more from the standpoint of the business owner, like you as the owner. Like, what's the incentive for you to develop this team to provide the best service? Like, it's your impact or it's monetary.
I mean,
it's what you're in business for.
If you've got a crew of people who are doing that, go fire them all right now.
Yeah.
Or go tell them you've got one more chance to do that, to not do all that crap you're leaving, or else you're fired. No one's going to do that because then who would they have to work for them?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you can't do
that. You should
that.
look at yourself.
Yeah.
Instead of going and firing your crew, you should look at yourself and say, man, how can I set a better example for okay, let me give you guys an example.
It should start there.
You guys know the last month or so, our team PTs, there have been mornings that I show up a few minutes late. I looked at myself and I said, you know what? That's freaking bullcrap, man. Like, y'all see, I mean, I sit in this chair over here all alone because I'm the leader. No, I'm just joking. But I uphold myself not because I'm anything special, not because I want you guys to want to trust me and follow me. And I feel like Chili feels the same way. He wants us to trust him and follow him. We all have that. But I looked at myself as the leader that I am, and I said, that's freaking bullcrap, man. And
well, it's a little thing. It's easy to overlook.
Showing up 2 minutes late to a team PT that we're all supposed to do. Like, but it doesn't matter because we do team PTs because we want to do them. It doesn't matter. But I just thought, yeah, man. So instead of looking outward and saying, oh, we need to move these PTs a little later, or, it just doesn't freaking matter. I said, no, man, I ain't doing that crap no more.
Yeah, so
Go ahead. I was going to say, I'm going to make these things at my house and I'll always be on time.
No, man, that's just a simple example of something that we do where I was screwing up, setting a poor example for my team. And I looked at myself and said, that's a freaking poor example. So I'm going to fix myself.
So we've been talking about this topic in the context of, or the sphere of business and all of that, those kinds of transactions. But I think a key to examining that is examining yourself or the person in other contexts. Like, who do you show up as when you're at a restaurant and you've made a mess at the table? Do you do you treat that person coming in behind you to clean up the table?
Oh.
Do you just say, well, that's just their job? My kids just threw, broken chips all over the floor and whatever, I'm just going to leave. Or do you, I have this habit of cleaning everything up and stacking all the bowls and the trash in kind of a neat little pile and kind of wiping the table if there's like water on it or whatever. That's just something I do, but that kind of thing is that mentality of, I'm aware somebody's coming in this after me, and I'm going to make, it is their job, but I'm going to make their job as easy as possible. And so it's just those little things in life, like what you were just saying about showing up on time, because it's out of consideration for others. And a lot of this is out of consideration for others. And so a good question is, how do I show up in other areas of life? And a lot of the people listening to this podcast don't own businesses. It's not specifically applicable to them in those ways, but it is applicable to everybody. Having a standard, being considerate of others, leaving things better than you found them. And so I think examining yourself in that way can be extremely helpful, because chances are when you recognize what's going on there, that'll explain how you show up in business, in these other areas, in relationships with people.
It is applicable to everybody.
So right.
Because everybody works for somebody. Everybody interacts with people.
Everybody has a life.
And that's what I was getting at earlier with what I was saying is that's a tool to motivate your team by modeling it, not manipulating them and saying, let me give you more money to pick up your trash. Just model it, and you pick up trash when you're around them and show that that's important to you and who you are. And I guarantee you a lot of the people in your business are going to start doing the same thing. They're going to say, oh, Chad didn't have to tell me it's important to be on time, because I seen he used to not be on time and now he's on time. I better start being on time. If it's important to him, it's going to be important to me. So you gain respect and you model it. And I think that goes a lot further than saying, let me give you an extra $1 an hour. I want you to start picking up your cigarette butts or whatever it is. Because at that point, they're doing it for money.
That's the key. Yeah.
And when they go home, they're the same person they've always been. They're just doing it at your business. I think you should try to impact people on a personal level, that they become that person even when they're not working for you in a business situation. And if you are the employee, you should do it at home just like at work. And that's how you stand out. That's how you get promoted. That's how you have job security. People pay attention to that stuff.
You heard the boss's response when you asked that question about the trash and everything. Oh, our guys don't do that. Dude, they're blissfully unaware. They've probably never told their crew to not do that.
Zero ownership.
They have no idea if they do it or don't. I mean, it's...
You know what the answer should have been? Whether those cigarette butts were theirs or not. Oh, okay, we'll come pick those up tomorrow. There's no... I mean, yeah. And back to Chris's point, yes, it has to become who you are. I got a long driveway, right? And I go up and down that driveway every day, usually on foot. And how many times, I can't tell you how many times I've walked by a little piece of trash or a little something there on the driveway, and I'll actually walk by it and make a conscious decision not to pick it up because it doesn't matter. And I'll get about 10 steps past it, and it just drives me insane. And I'll turn around and go back and pick it up just to build that muscle memory into who I am, right? But it's a constant battle. Yeah. Well, guys, this is a great conversation. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you got something out of it, share it with someone that would also get something out of it. We depend on you guys to shout these podcasts out and help grow the podcast, because we don't do any sort of paid advertising or anything. So we want to get this out to as many people as can benefit from it as we possibly can. And there's only a few of us. There's a bunch of you guys. So we would appreciate it if you share the show. And thank all you guys for supporting the podcast on Patreon. It means a tremendous amount to us. And you guys carry the show from week to week through your contributions. So if you want to join us on Patreon, check it out. We'll attach a link to the show notes in this episode. And we do a live call on there 3 Sundays a month where Chili refuses to teach. And also Krista refuses to teach, but me and Blake will be on there for you. All right, guys, we love you. Enough said.